promise you, you don't want to be me. It's okay to be you. You just gotta believe in yourself, in yourself, in yourself. On me, you can be you.
Life. The greatest loss is what dies inside while still alive. Never surrender.
Who said that?
Welcome to Pie Talk. I have a quote for you today. Two of them actually from the same person. Every individual soul chooses the significant people in that life. Destiny will place you in the particular circumstance. It will dictate that you will encounter a particular person at a certain time and place. And the next one is our rational minds often attempt to minimize or negate the mystical encounters. We forget the power of our experiences. We must embrace the reality of that event, which is a miracle.
I don't know if the person that co-hosts with you really loves this author, but she does. There's another clue. Hi, everybody. I'm Priscilla Z. Nice to have you all here today. And one of the finer folks in life sitting next to me is...
your boy, B, a.k.a. B Aktiv The Rapper. And yes, I have dropped a couple new singles, which we talked about prior to the intro.
Yes, and you know what's really fun is they're actually good. That's my favorite part about B's music. It's like, you know, when you have a friend who's out there and kind of doing their thing or whatever, and they pop off on different music. Sometimes it's just not your vibe, or sometimes you're proud of them for making the art that they make, but it's not necessarily something that you would listen to. I 100% listen to B. I love that he's impeccable with his words, and he's got some motivation behind the things he's speaking about, which is really valuable to me. So I dig what you're creating.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
It's a big deal. It sounds like his music is a lot like pie.
Sounds like pie.
Which is super cool because it means practical application is happening in B's life. PI stands for Pursuing Internal Evolution, which we've touched base on every episode. The concept really is that every day, all day, you are progressing and you're learning. And there's a way that you can really indulge and get into the ingredients of the pie that you're making. And you can make one of the best pieces of pie of your life if you choose to, with how you spend your time and who you spend your time with. And I personally, in a very short amount of time of indulging in pie, have grown immensely. And my words, even though I thought before were kind of impeccable in the way that I spoke about different things that I wanted in life and all of that, my words now match my thoughts all the way. Everything is in line. And so I speak about what I want, and I actively work towards the things that I love and appreciate in life. And man, my life is feeling good.
I second that. My growth too has been, and this is one of my favorite words, talking about impeccability, right? Exponentially.
Ooh, I like that word. It's a money word.
Exponentially. A lot, you know. I really appreciate this journey. On the way here, or before I was on the way here, I was watching our last episode, and I was reminded of just some things to reflect on in that episode. You know, are you out there keeping your strings tight or keeping them wrapped around your waist? Are you allowing people access to your puppet strings?
Yeah, I have to be really real with you guys. Last episode, when Pete brought up that concept, he didn't give me a debrief before the episode was rolling on that idea. He just shot the idea out. And then I, in real time, was adapting and learning to the concept. And then I now have practically applied that to so much of my little reach and speech talks with people. But realistically, that is a cool concept and a cool idea. And a lot of it talks about just regaining your power by aligning those strings up to a higher power, a higher function. And to me, that higher power is energy. It's collaborative energy. It's what we're all here on a mission to do. And when you're in line with that, all of the people on the exterior side that would normally be able to pull at your strings have no accessibility to you. And it doesn't matter how hard life gets or the different challenges that come in your way. you have more control over your divine ordinance, your divine nature with like your experience on earth when those strings are tight. And I don't know, I just think it's kind of cool. It's a great way of also in the middle of the day. I've been doing this and I feel like physically, visuals, it's kind of cool. You feel a little slouchy. You're slouching, those strings aren't that tight, you know? Like, yep, you pop those strings back up and you literally kind of dust off the concept of other people being able to come at you. You pull those strings up and kind of ruffle your feathers a little bit, and then you get to have a really good day. You get to change that at any part of your day, too.
Any part of your day.
It can happen anytime.
It's like having your strings tight is akin to being in alignment with your authentic self,
Yeah.
meaning the opinions of others and the pulling of the strings, denying access to random, even people that are really close to you, should not have access to your strings.
No, nobody.
That is a personal relationship with yourself, your higher power, your authentic journey that you have for yourself, things that you want to achieve. That's yours. You get to keep that. And to be in alignment with that is a superpower. It's a blessing. And just keep that visual.
Yeah, it really is too. I noticed actually with parenting that I thought was really interesting. I'm trying to be really impeccable with my words when I'm dealing with my child. And you know when like your kid's doing something and then you are reactive or emotional, not even like in a bad sense, but like, man, like what you're doing is frustrating me. Like just that sentence, right? No, because then I'm letting that little person pull on my strings. So the truth is that I allowed my strings not to be tight, and I'm frustrated.
Now, before you slip, again, we rarely debrief about the meat and bones of the topic. Sometimes it's her topic, sometimes it's mine, but I have a feeling she's going to lead into it a little early. I see where this is going, but this topic that we have today is great. And we can get back. We'll touch back on there, and you'll see why later. I have something sweet in store for this piece of pie. No tea.
No.
We don't deal in negativity. No. Pour it out.
It's gross.
Quit indulging, because all of that will essentially give lots of people access to your strings.
Yes.
If you are indulging in poisonous conversations with people about other people, that essentially is like handing your strings to everybody in that conversation, because you're going to be jerked into having these conversations and this negative back talk. And the person that people are usually giving tea about typically isn't even present. So that's not fair.
Right. And not only that, but something I've kind of just recently learned is, so like I interacted with a tea kettle. like they were brewing it, they were full of it, they live it, they love being that tea. And I really had to self-evaluate what was going on with me and how I felt with their teenager. And what it really boiled down to,
I see what you did there.
what it really boiled down to was that I didn't like that. I didn't like how it felt. I didn't like what they were doing. It felt really manipulative. Honestly, it felt weird and creepy, which I thought was kind of interesting. And those are things where back in the day, I used to be like, tell me more. But,
please tell me more.
Right. But right now, I just like it. To me, it doesn't feel very good. And so something else that I tried to then do is notice that the teapot that is brewing over there is really just that. They're still brewing. They're still in pain. They're still in suffering. They still find it a priority to highlight the negativity in life versus the positive pie. And I kind of wanted to give like a little bit of grace and forgiveness for that person. And then also not take anything that they were doing or saying towards me personally, because really it is none of my business. It's their kettle. It's not mine. And so, yeah, it was kind of interesting to start to evaluate why I feel the way I do around tea.
Nice. Well, we have some comments, and before Priscilla pulls those up, I just want to say that our authentic growth in views, obviously we're not in the thousands of views, but the hundreds of views that we get, we value and we appreciate we are not making funds off of doing this. The currency that we get to enjoy is this.
Yeah.
It's doing this. It's getting the comments and getting your feedback and knowing that we're providing something to the universe and to the world and to our communities that other people are telling us is valuable and that they appreciate. And we appreciate that appreciation. See, it goes back to eliminate take from any relationship.
Yeah.
It's about giving and receiving. There is no taking here.
Well, it's actually been kind of cool because I'm not going in this with this idea like everywhere I go, people know me or people are going to talk to me about pie. I go in with B and I do our thing here and we love what we do and we enjoy it and we benefit. Like my cup, my pie is full just after us recording. And then maybe us debriefing throughout the week, he and I, or concepts of the next episode. Like that to me is like enough. That is so good. It's so delicious. So then when I go into the public and someone says, oh, hey, you're that girl, or hey, I know you, or I listened to you last night. I almost get like, I don't want to say shocked, but I'm like, oh, whoa, cool. Like bonus pie. I wasn't expecting that because I have no expectation about this.
Public slices.
Yeah, public slices. And then yesterday, actually, I was interacting with a couple people that were talking about pie. They were talking about it in a really positive light, the things that they're taking from it, how it's helping them with their relationships with their family and the way they're navigating their conversations with people who used to be able to get at them, will not allowed to get at them now. And like, so already huge benefits because I see them growing and I'm like, dude, this is working. Like what we're doing is working. Like everybody is taking their own ownership of these concepts and then putting it into practical application in their own lives on their own time. So like B and I aren't there behind everybody going, now say this, do this, No. It's just intriguing everybody's mind and getting them rolling. And then I talked about technology, which I don't know if anybody, some people know this about me, but like me, technology, not the best relationship ever, but I do see the value in technology. And I spoke about technology in a way that was still uplifting and kind and grateful. And the person there said, wow, this girl speaks impeccably about everything she talks about. And to me, that was like he handed me a stack of hundreds. I was like, wow, like what a cool observation. What a neat thing. What an honor to represent. I honor that representation. And I felt like I was loaded on the dollars.
Yeah, that's a extremely valuable compliment.
Yeah.
That compliment is full of positive currency and man.
Living the 4 agreements outright for real, and then being the evidence that it is something to love and respect.
And we have a blueprint agreements that are even a little bit in more depth that adds to our character and our toolbox. And one of them we'll really go into today.
I love it. So I'm just going to read out some comments. On our last episode, we have a lot of engagement, which was great. A woman by the name of Stephanie Squally said, happy birthday, Priscilla. Thanks for sharing part of your day with us. And I just wanted to say, Stephanie, thank you so much for the happy birthday, but also thank you just for participating. I really appreciate you being a part of our day too. Like it's a give, like we're just saying, that currency exchange. It's like the best gift you can really give us. So it said, Priscilla, you were absolutely right about the tea. It hits the brain. It's neuroscience. It's like a straw stream that flows through your brain. And the more it gets, it becomes a raging river. When you finally walk away from the drama, you can actually redirect that stream. But you have to do the work. And I'm so glad you guys have done it. Thank you so much for sharing. And I like what she points about, that it's actually about creating new neural pathways is essentially what it is. Doing the work to make new tracks so that your brain isn't thriving off of the pain bodies of negativity, and it's actually getting high off of the lovely compliments about being impeccable or having grace or being humble.
Absolutely. Like, I appreciate the comments so much. I think, just to put it in a perspective, if you were to Cash App each of us $100, I would give it back to you if you would share our stuff and tag 100 people.
Yes, 100%. That's super funny, but he's being honest. That's exactly what would happen. Um, actually, to be really real with you, this last week I had a moment where I was like trying to think about how I was gonna like monetize my journey, and B was like, poof. And he was like, "Is that why you're doing it? What are you doing it for?" And it redirected my whole frame, because if you're not doing it for the like hyper focused direction of the USD, and you're doing it because of what you gift into the world versus what you receive, the universe is going to be like ba ba da ba ba da bop, and it's just going to fill you back up exponentially in ways that you could not even manifest when it comes to the concept of USD. So,
Look at her being all vulnerable. Like, this was a private conversation between business
but it's
partners.
true.
From
Like,
a mentor to a mentee, back to a mentor, just talking. I didn't know she was going to bring that up, but that's awesome, because we did. We had that authentic conversation about,
what are you doing?
you know, how we got to monetize. And I'm like, is that the focus? Are we doing it to be the best, or to have the most, or are we doing it because we believe in it and it feels good and people are really, really enjoying it and engaging, and it's literally helping people sometimes with the end of their day, the beginning of their day. There's a few comments on there about, you know, they start the day in the morning commutes with us,
Yeah.
or they end the day with us. We have a big fan, Sarah, that saves pies, like won't listen to them until she like needs them.
Has her
And
time, right?
yeah,
I know, it's super cool.
it's
And
great.
like that is worth millions if you really think about it. And like redirecting that frame was really good for me. Another thing that I evaluated after our conversation was and this is humble and honest, vulnerable stuff too, but the reason that I was thinking that way is because I was thinking in a fearful mindset. And fear equated survival, survival equated finance in this like big world of whatever's going on here on earth. And it was a perception, and it wasn't something that I really truly in my soul feel. And so B kind of brought me back to what my soul has agreed to do here on earth, which is to always be of service and to always shine the light that I can, not only on myself, but by doing it through myself onto as many people that I can possibly touch while I'm here on earth.
Sounds like pie.
It is. Oof, delicious. Calvina Padilla, she said, yes, there are some awesome talks and awesome music too. Their podcast is so educational. They always have great talks. Stephanie Squally popped in and said, absolutely. And we are all evolving to a higher level. It's a great way to start the day before a stressful work shift. Star Johnson, who works for Pursue It If We Want It, who is a big example of pie, wrote, this episode was the first one for me. Whenever I be starting to feel some type of way, I literally imagine tightening. Oh, was the best one for me, not the first, excuse me, was the best one for me. Whenever I be starting to feel some type of way, I literally imagine tightening my puppet strings and realigning myself. It's literally a game changer for me right now. With so much challenge happening, it's easy for my negative self-talk to loosen one string that can easily cause me to trip up if I don't realign myself with my creator and the universe. Love you both. We love you. And thank you. And then she also wrote, I'm looking for the pre-official season 1 episodes. I've caught up on all these and now need more. Please point me in the right direction of those earlier episodes. I'm working on my own abilities to speak publicly, and I'm interested in learning and seeing how Priscilla got past the fear and need to have everything just so.
Okay, 2 things on that. Number 1, I want to honor Star.
Yeah.
Make a slight correction. So she is actually an employee of Peer Washington. She works for Washington Peer Network as a program manager. She volunteers as the president of the board of another nonprofit, the Pursue It If You Want It, where we did the Easter baskets. So that energy is allocated completely free. There's no compensation for what we do with Pursue It If You Want It. It's all grassroots. donations, funding, all the Easter baskets we delivered that week was because the community saw our need. They helped us. We put them together. We delivered those things out. I got a lot of pictures in my messages from the kids receiving those baskets.
Fun.
Yeah, and that just filled my heart.
That's
Filled
super
it,
cool.
filled it. The second thing is, yes, we did 13 or 14 pilot pre-episodes when we were kind of figuring out our audio, figuring out how our studio would look. There's a lot of green screenery stuff behind us, but the content is still there. So if you're interested in watching those, it's actually on our podcast YouTube channel on a playlist called Pilot Episodes. If you go to that playlist, you can see our very first one, which is what Star was going to, and you can see the progression, where we started our day one to where we got to,
where we're at now. I would say, Star, if I could touch base at all on this issue with you just briefly, but I would also invite you and I can have our own walk and talk conversations about this and connect and work on this together anytime you want. Anytime. But what's really interesting is in my past, I had the attitude, the concept, and the words that said that I really didn't care what other people thought about me. And that it was none of my business what other people thought about me. The truth is, even when I had those words, I probably cared what everybody thought about me the most. I probably took every last word out of anybody's mouth, especially the people that loved me, completely personally, and thought that I needed to alter myself, I needed to change myself, shape shift, be things so that I could fit in and so that I could be accepted by others. When I started this podcast, it kind of was it was like a fuck it moment, to be real. It was like a what do I have to lose here? People are going to judge me no matter what. People are going to have opinions about me no matter what. I can't change what people think about me ever. So there was.
Speaking of, I remember you're like, okay, so what do I got to memorize?
What script were you going to give me that was going to be completely accurate because I wasn't flubbing up?
Here's the script. Record.
Right. And that's actually, I think, the paradigm shift for me was that those thoughts that I had about not really caring about what other people think, or that exterior go drive that I was starting to put into play, I actually let myself have it.
Yeah.
I just went for it. And I could give a hooey what anybody has to say about me right now. And I mean that in the most love. I mean it. There's an affirmation. It's called, "It's none of my business what you think of me." And it truly isn't. It's none of my business. And if we want to talk about this divine strings, this greater creator alignment universe, whatever that is, but I was born in divine perfection. I was born this way. It is my birthright to be who I am. It is my birthright to have air in my lungs and blood pumping through my body. And I don't give my heart a memo that says, pump, please, okay? My heart just does it. And so when I'm speaking, it's kind of the same thing. It's they talk about spitting spirits. And actually, I know B just had some moments of this when he was making music, to where it comes out of you when you align your strings up with that higher power and you have those tight. Stuff just starts coming, and it comes out of you in the best way possible. And sometimes you'll be in the front of somebody and you'll be talking about something and you'll wonder, how the heck did I get on this topic? Or why are we this deep into something with a stranger? But really it's because it could possibly be the most transformative moment in that person's life. Mm-hmm. And you are a vessel with those strings tight for a higher power and a connection. And so to give yourself the gift of freedom, which is to truly be yourself, to be honest, to just be who you are, and to not fear what anybody thinks about you, no matter where you go, because none of that really matters. The only thing that matters is what you believe about yourself and what you continue to strive to become, to be the best version of yourself at any given moment.
Beautiful. That segues right into Day 14.
Woo-hoo!
Keep Effing Going by Joshua Smith.
And Jordan Davis, two people who I think didn't really care too much about what other people thought about them.
Oh, they put this into the
And
world,
that's why
right?
they got to where they're at right now.
All right.
Shall we?
I shall. Did you know that Susan B. Anthony was arrested for voting illegally in the 1872 presidential election because women were not allowed to vote at the time? She then continued to fight for women's suffrage and helped secure the right to vote for women in the United States. Go ahead. What's that last part say?
It says that the glorious Susan B. Anthony's story shows that even when the odds are stacked against you, standing up for what you believe in can inspire change and help create a better world.
Imagine that. How did that segue into that? We read these in real time.
I know I have goosebumps right now.
Right?
I love this stuff. This is how it works. But it's just more of an affirmation to you, Star, to myself, to anybody else listening right now that was inspired in any way whatsoever. But when you stand up in a world of things that could be judgment, could be different confines or structures that are telling you that you can't be what you truly are, and you are everything that you're meant to be, you could change the whole dang world.
And when somebody says you can't or the opposite, you should be, like, for example, you should identify this way or you should be this type of person. Ask them, this is one of my favorites, by whose authority? Just saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Challenge cards?
Please, let's do
go.
it. Well, mine's wonderful. I love it.
I just look.
100% better than yesterday. Guess what I don't have any time for? No time for negativity.
No negativity.
Oh,
Pour it out.
Better than yesterday, 139. Make the next 24 hours a time of zero negativity. Ooh, I like this. Stop yourself when you resort to negative thinking. You're in control of your conclusions, or of the conclusions you come to. Show yourself that you can choose more optimistic ones.
Hey, two voices. I'm going to read it again.
Perfect. Do it.
Make the next 24 hours a time of zero negativity. Stop yourself when you resort to negative thinking. You're in control of the conclusions you come to. Show yourself that you can choose more optimistic ones. Whew.
I love it. I'm like, that kind of just goes back to what I was talking about in terms of the paradigm shift for me when I had the podcast and when I didn't have the podcast and I did. The truth is that last part. Instead of having all the negative self-talk, the negative things that I thought about, what other people thought about me and the things and the I just chose to come to a more optimistic conclusion, which was that my experience here, me doing this, was worth far more to me than any of those negative offerings. And in my brain, I decided to come to a different conclusion. And now I have a different product.
Get yourself a handheld mirror.
They're cute. You
magic
should look
mirror.
at what's inside of it. Cute person.
Better than yesterday. Mind blown. Number 90. Watch a documentary on a subject you're unfamiliar with. Learning about the world around you makes you a more well-rounded and inquisitive person, according to this card. It's a challenge.
I like it.
You can choose to accept any of these challenges or not.
Yeah. And I think the watching a documentary thing, I challenge you also to maybe pick one that you could watch with your family so that you can kind of get a dialogue or something going in your home about a concept you guys have never had in your home before.
Nice.
It'll be fun. All right. What do we got up next?
We have the topic of our show, which is kind of a dual one, but
Please
it's
reveal.
it's only dual in the sense of, okay, we're talking about spring, right? But spring represents life. So aside from spring as nature's seasonal concept, we're also talking about the impeccability of your word today, springing life with your conversation and not death, right? So what are we talking about? Here, for the spring aspect of it, I have a few different things that I looked up. we're going to start with
Spring has sprung.
10 reasons why spring is the best season.
It is. You got biased people up on the stage here.
Yeah, because I was born in spring.
You do.
Tomorrow's my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Right? So, number 1, warmer weather. Just like some animals hibernate in the winter, many humans tend to practice their own version in the colder months as well. Chilly weather causes people to nest and want to stay cozy at home. This is true for my wife. She loves decorating and the cozy feeling of the house when all the decorations, especially the winter, like from October to November. Our house is always decorated to match the season, and those are cozy times. So that sentence reminds me of my wife. Shout out, babe. This is especially true for people who live in climates prone to snow and sleet. Going out may not seem worth the hassle. When spring comes and temperatures warm up, it's exciting to put the heavy jackets away and venture outside in lighter gear. Number 2, there are more hours in the day. Once the time changes
Amen.
and the sun stays out later, you feel like there's more time in the day to enjoy the nature. And those with 9 to 5s get to leave work in the sun instead of in the evening.
Yes.
So our next, I have phone issues here. There we go.
Okay.
3, more sunshine. For many, spring is the first time in several months when sunny rays break through a gray sky. Going outside and feeling the sun's rays on your skin feels good.
I'm solar powered.
Yeah, me too, definitely. If you've endured harsh winter conditions, spending time in the sun doesn't just feel good physically, it also has many health benefits. The sun's rays help our bodies produce vitamin D, improve sleep patterns, and produce serotonin in the brain, which can boost our emotional well-being. Sounds like pie. But remember your sunscreen for those of you that need it. Birds and animals emerge.
Yay!
The animals who took a much needed nap over winter and those who flew south for the warmer climates are finally back.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Is it? All right. There you go. 5 and 6.
Delicious seasonal produce. Did you say I said delitional? That's delicious and seasonal together. Delitional. Delicious seasonal produce. Eating in season produce is always ideal, and it tastes wonderful and can be purchased for the best price. While what's in season varies by region depending on climate, most people can expect to find apricots, arugula, beets, asparagus, cherries, and other delicious fruits and veggies at their peak in spring. Spring is a great time to head to your local farmer's market, which I am a farmer's market junkie, if anybody knows me.
I went to the farmer's market for the first time last year.
Oh my goodness, that makes me so happy.
I got all those jams. We got like 4 jams. My wife got spicy ones.
I love it. Yeah. I went to I think 4 on Easter. It's ridiculous. I'm like, we'll pull off anywhere to check out their market. Also, another little tip on eating the seasonal things, try finding things that are out there at your market or things that are seasonal and then inspire an entire meal's creation off of whatever is in season. It can be really fun to indulge, and you can make some pie too. Time for spring cleaning and organizing. Spring is known for being a time of cleaning. There are both historical and religious examples of this, and spring cleaning has become an annual ritual for many households. This may include purging closets and donating items, good old philanthropy, that are no longer needed. We got 7 blooming flowers everywhere.
My wife loves flowers, constantly reminding me to buy her flowers.
I love it. Hashtag Trader Joe's for the cheapest options in town that are still beautiful.
Hashtag no taken.
Yeah, totally. One of the best parts of spring is the beautiful flowers begin to bloom again. It's wildflower season in many places, with hills and canyons dotted with bright florals. It's also cherry blossom season. That's my partner's favorite. And it's a joy to experience the beauty of those delicate pink flowers in full bloom. Of course, flowers are more than just pretty and nice smelling. They also nourish bees and birds and are an important contributor to the ecosystem. Uh, Trees grow leaves again. Whether you wander between the trees in the forest, sit under them in a park, or admire the ones outside your own window, trees are wonderful to behold at any time of the year. Trees go dormant in winter and lose their leaves. Then in spring, they'll notice new growth on the trees and around you, signaling the change in the season, which this is really funny between the flowers and the trees. Zyla, my daughter, like we're just walking and she came up with just like this gorgeous concept. But she was like, Mama, I love that I can see all of the colors in the trees. Did you notice that the trees had every single color? And I was like, yeah. She goes, it's like it's a real painting. And I was like, girl, yes,
Paintings
it is.
are real life.
It's the real life. It's the painting, right? It's like it's a real painting, these trees.
That's so beautiful.
Absolutely. Outdoor exercise. One of the best things that about spring is that there is more temperate days that make for it a good time to go outside. Spring is the perfect time for ditching the gym for an outdoor workout. The weather in spring.
No, go ahead.
The weather in spring is not uncomfortably warm, nor is it so chilly that you need to bundle up. What you got?
No, it's funny because last week I drove all the way to the gym, sat in a massage chair, and then drove home and worked out in my backyard.
I love it. That's hilarious. That's spring for you right there. Spring done checked them. Bop. The next one is number 10. It says, you can open your windows again. Now that the weather is warming up, it feels good to open the windows and let fresh breeze waft through your home. Fresh air is the perfect way to chase out the stagnation of winter. Not only that, but when open windows allow you to experience, and I can't see the rest, but I will go ahead and put in my own words, which is, guess what? This is crazy, everybody, but I was having a case of the humans. It was 2 days ago, and I was feeling super poopy, like the poopiest. And I woke up and I was like, I am anxiety ridden. I have the grossest negative thoughts ever. My self-talk was pooptastic. I was like, whoa. This is all busgusting, in the words of Zyla. Busted and disgusting. It was busgusting. So I'm sitting there and I write my partner and I just say, because actually sometimes when you're feeling that way, it's good to just be honest about it, to get it out of you and to recognize it so that you can pivot the change. So I just said, hey, this is weird, but I really feel super icky and gross about a lot of things that I don't even agree with. I didn't agree with any of it, but I was thinking it. And so, my partner said, hey, you know what you should really do? Just open all of the windows.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I think you're probably right. And I opened all of the windows, and in like 4.5 seconds, everything was fixed. I had zero self-negative thoughts, talk, whatever, all those stupid problems that weren't even problems. They were just things that I was hyper-focusing on that were none of my business. Everything literally flew out the window. And then goodness came in it. It was awesome. It was the best feeling ever. And it just took like a couple seconds to pivot everything. Another thing that this just reminded me of is in Germany, there's something they call it frische Luft, which is like basically like fresh air. And so in the morning, all the German like women, the moms and stuff like that, you be in your bed and like you're all cozy in your bed and they go, oh, frische Luft. And they open up all the windows and all the doors and make the whole house so freezing. But the fresh air comes in the house. Then all the kids get activated. So they're not sleeping in all day because they just got freezed out their bed. Yeah. And then their mind is going and moving. And then the whole house gets cooled off, and then they shut down all the windows, and they have free air conditioning for the rest of the day.
Interesting.
It's very cool.
But what's more interesting, again, this alignment. Priscilla didn't know I randomly picked a culture
Oh,
to
fun.
do a little research on what it meant, what spring meant for them, and I landed on Hindu. But it's funny because she went right into German.
Yes.
Right. So, what I found here was the vibrant festival of Holi, Holi,
This is my favorite.
is one of the biggest festivals among Hindus. It is a celebration of colors, unity, and friendship. We sat down with the student from India to get a personal reflection on what this festival means to them. Meet Vandita Awashti. She's a student in the Master of Science in Economics program at the graduate school. Awashti came to Georgetown because of its diversity and proximity to renowned institutions, networking opportunities, and the program allows her to learn directly from professors and experts in the field. More than a religious observance, Holi holds significance as a day that celebrates our relationships and mutual appreciation, transcending religious confines. Awashti said, explore her experiences of this joyous festival. I am from a family rooted in open mindedness and liberalism, fostering in me an appreciation for diverse religions and cultures. Within the Hindu community, I find a harmonious blend of various festivals and ceremonies, each celebrating different facets of our religion. What I cherish most about being Hindu is the profound sense of belonging it offers, spanning geographical boundaries and uniting us worldwide. Holi stands out as one of the most cherished festivals among Hindus, renowned as the Festival of Colors. It's a time for reuniting with friends and family, indulging in delicious food, and sharing laughter. Beyond its vibrant revelry, Holi symbolizes the onset of spring and, in Hindu mythology, signifies the triumph of good over evil. One thing I miss about my hometown is the vibrant transformation of the streets as Holi approaches.
So, what you didn't read and may not know, but
That's her. I'll post her picture.
Holi every year is per the Hindu lunar year, the lunar calendar. And Holi this year was my birthday. Totally. And when I was researching my birthday, I was looking into like what I wanted to do or what was valuable to me. And actually, I've studied Hinduism before in my lifetime, and I really go back a lot of the time when I'm looking at my spiritual roots, and I believe that the core roots of Hinduism are very beautiful, and there's something that I can honor. And it was hilarious that, of course, this beautiful day of celebration and relationships and yummy food and life and all this like growth and pie happened to also be my birthday. And
happened to also be this random thing I looked up this morning
hilarious.
without any of that information.
Which is another one. This goes even bigger. Is Betty, my sister, who I effing love the most. She came up with something. She just heard it from a friend, but instead of saying happy birthday to people, you say happy new year. Because it is a new year for you. And it's kind of a way of saying that you have so many new opportunities ahead of you. So be happy new year tomorrow. I'm really excited for you.
And another one I've been using, if you watch my Facebook page, is Life Day.
I love Life Day.
This is your life day. This is the day that you came to life.
Yeah, in the 3D flesh, the real thing.
That's the other thing I put in the notes. Priscilla and her damn words. when she writes our book, which is coming soon, and I'm gonna keep saying it so that she writes our book, which is coming soon, right? Flesh sack. So there's gonna be a glossary of text of these concepts that we use explained.
This little beauty. It's good old flesh sack. It's like I've heard it called an astronaut suit. To kind of like, but I really like the concept of flesh sack because it's literally what it is. And like, oh, this goes back to even birth and life too, which is really kind of fun, which actually goes into the quote today and the person that made the quote, which that connection just happened just for me real time. but
We don't get to say who it is yet.
we don't get to say who it is yet. But either way, this concept of, which comes into Hinduism too, which is reincarnation and all of these concepts of like the soul meets the body.
Mhm.
So I had heard from this particular person that is the quote guy, and through other books that he had written and other people that study the same philosophy, is that the soul is like kind of like a balloon on a string, and that when a woman gets pregnant, she like doesn't, you don't really, and you could, anybody that's had a baby before, you let me know in the comments if this is something you experienced, but you don't feel like the baby is like inside of you until you're about 4 months along. And when you're about 4 months pregnant, you get this feeling, and it's the weirdest, coolest feeling where you're like, oh, I'll never forget it. I was like, oh, whoa, she's in there. Like, she's really, really in there. Like, before that, she had just kind of been like floating around a little bit around us. And then she was like really, really inside of me. And
like
then
anchored.
Yeah, like anchored in. And then when she was born, I remember looking at her and seeing like, and I'm very spiritual, but like I could see that her soul was kind of like, it was like in and out and in and out and in and out. And have you ever seen a newborn baby where they're like kind of like, oh, they're like, they look like they're there, but they ain't there, and then they're kind of there and they're gone again. They're just like these little alien things or whatever, these vessels, this flesh sac. And then right at about 8 weeks along, 2 months along, you start to see them like really start to integrate in their flesh sac. And then Zyla, I'm telling you, man, she was 9 months old when I was really looked at her and was like, oh, you are in there. Like,
Yeah.
Your soul is really in that body all the way right now. And now, to be even more real with you, her soul is progressing. She turned 4.5, and I can watch that shift that's occurring where she really is becoming like a worldly person versus like this super spiritual essence being. She's starting to gain a lot of worldly concepts and ideas that are grounding her even more in her flesh sac. And so it is fun to watch flesh sac progression, man. It is a real deal.
It is.
Happy flesh sac day tomorrow.
All that. Toxic positivity.
Ooh, one of my favorites.
We got so many words to bring to y'all.
Toxic positivity.
That brings up a challenge. Next time you are around a baby that you can
I love this.
hold, I challenge you, even just for 60 seconds. You want to dip and dive into the universe and have an experience? Look in that baby's eyes for 60 seconds while smiling.
Whole universe is in there.
Open your soul to that baby, and you will see things and feel things that you maybe didn't know you could or that you forgot about. I'm telling you. There's some babies. I got some grandbabies. I've been able to do it recently with my grandson. And, you know, these are things I kind of just do more like in secret kind of for myself.
Of course.
This is the first time I'm really putting it out there that I even do that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it is a spiritual experience to stare into a baby's eyes.
I believe that we haven't even talked about this at all, but I believe that newborns, that 8-week period that I was just talking about, they are the spiritual regulators. Like, they can literally come in and teach you and school you more than you could ever possibly gain in like some class or textbook. Like, they have all the answers and then some. You just have to look in those little eyes, the universe eyeballs, and see what's up.
Think of babies think of like Baby Yoda, and the Baby Yoda. This is just a visual. You look at any baby with the ability to just and align your strings.
Yep, yes, they
like,
can.
Oh,
they can totally do it.
This feels great. So, on to another part of this topic of spring and being impeccable with your word. It comes from our blueprint agreement, which is I agree to connect with others in a positive and authentic way. I can accept that curiosity fosters connection. I agree to look for the commonalities among others and myself and practice open-mindedness when confronted with something new by asking questions that are meant to seek understanding and promote unity. Now that segues right into one of the agreements. The first agreement is be impeccable with your word, right? So what are we talking? Life or death? When we talk to a person, are we speaking life into that person?
Oh,
Or are we speaking death into that person?
yeah.
Remember, I talked about it before. Negativity, the word negative, mathematically means to minus. So you hear people say something like constructive criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Criticism is a negative,
Yeah.
it is a minus, right? So the conundrum of constructive criticism, I don't know, right? So think about if you're a supervisor
Mm-hmm.
and somebody is doing something the incorrect way. If you speak life into that person, you will simply give them the correct way
Mm-hmm.
and a life building quality way to instill confidence. If you are giving them death, the first thing you're going to do is point out that it's wrong.
Yeah.
So you're going to start the conversation with the negative.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be in the red when you start. So I say that to say, when we are impeccable with our word, and the way Don Miguel Ruiz defines impeccable is without sin,
Mm-hmm.
which is a whole nother concept. But think of it as life or death, poison or healing.
Mm-hmm.
When you speak to somebody, when you speak to a child, when you speak to correct behavior, think about the intent and the cause. You might have this intent, but does this intent align with the cause? You have intent to speak life. You have intent to teach, to grow, to discipline. But does the delivery, does the cause of your words instill life? Are you speaking life? Are you speaking the quality of growth into your child when you're talking to them?
Not just your child too, but everybody that you're around. I have to tell you, B just walloped me. His flesh sack just popped me on the noggin. But
Here we
I'll
go.
have some humble vulnerability here.
Here we go.
When I was a flailing flesh sack, and I was trying to spiritually, I would say, annihilate everybody around me. I was constantly speaking like the Deathly Hallows. I was speaking death into people, and I didn't even know that that was my intentions. I was just trying to showcase, like a good example is my partner. I was trying to showcase, this behavior is this way, and this is not the way, and there are better ways, and this is what I need from you, and blah, 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 blah. And all it did was create a cycle of death, truly. Of sadness and pain bodies and depression and a lot of things that weren't really helping us grow forward. Right now, I speak life into my life and into the people that I love, and especially my partner and my child and the people that I surround myself in my immediate circle. And what I've done recently is speak about the things that I love about these people, the highlights, the little tiny moments, and the things that I honor about their progress and where they're at, meeting them where they're at and seeing exactly what I can say about what they're doing currently in this real time. That is something I appreciate and I value and I respect. And just like that seed up here, it's like watering it, and it ends up growing so fast, wickedly fast. It's incredible to watch the growth and development in the people that you love just by watering the seeds of life versus literally pouring hot death tea all over them and their growth and experience. And it's
Hot death tea.
Yep,
There's another one.
It is. It's true. It's hot death
Going
tea.
in the book.
And it fries the flesh sack. It's not good. It's really the way of like demeaning the human experience. And everybody knows their faults. Everybody knows what they struggle with. But I believe that there's a way of filtering out the positivity into our lives. And when we do that, we end up growing our hearts, we grow our minds, we grow our connections. Like it was just saying, I can accept that curiosity fosters connection. And usually that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to foster connection with our curiosity about the other person that we're engaging with. We're not trying to smush and snuff out their flame.
No, and it's like when we talked about, and I bring up concepts over and over. A, because I try to remind myself, and B, because they're important to me, right? When you hear something like the golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. And then I learned in a training within the last year, the platinum rule is treat others how they want to be treated,
Right.
right? And so, how can you treat someone how they want to be treated if you aren't curious enough to ask them how they want
What
to be
that looks
treated?
like. Yeah.
So the curiosity fostering connection, it really embodies being able to get close to someone, close enough that, yes, the prerequisite to the platinum rule may be the golden rule, but the goal is to get to the golden rule. The goal is to honor someone in their flesh sack as they are, treat them as they want to be treated. And sometimes by asking them, they might actually decide that they want to be treated differently than they thought because no one ever asked them before.
Right. That's exactly what happened.
So you guys can both learn together how to treat each other and then apply the platinum rule at any time that you have that interaction. But most importantly, it's the way you talk, because words, believe it or not, are magic.
They're 100%.
Words have power.
They're spelling.
Words can heal you. It has been scientifically proven in some studies where they held a flamethrower or flame torch in front of someone and told them with words that they were going to burn them, and then touch them on the back with the ice cube held with prongs, but their skin bubbled as if they were burned.
Yeah.
How is that if words do not have power? Words can build up. Words can destroy. A narcissist would not exist if words lacked power, because a narcissist's superpower is manipulation and words and wordplay and the ability to incarcerate somebody mentally with words, right? Speak life into those around you. Speak life into the mirror, which will then show you the best version of yourself. The only way to create a magic mirror is to speak impeccable to yourself in that mirror. And then that mirror holds the power to show the reflection of the best version of yourself. But it all comes from you.
Yeah.
You get to decide how much energy you have. You get to decide how much beauty you see in yourself. You get to decide how you perceive other people. You get to choose to be negative in your conversation and interactions and communication with everybody and everything around you, or you can choose to look through a filter of love and life and let that be the way that you wake up. Drink that water, look in the magic mirror, and decide today's going to be great. You're a great person. You have goals that are achievable. You're going to kill it today. You're going to do your best. But before we get into our 4 agreement cards, I can feel it. Priscilla has something to say.
Yeah. I was like, it's true. I do. I mean, I have a million things. I'm like sitting in huge contemplation right now. I don't know if you can probably see it in my demeanor, but it sounds cheesy. There's a TikTok trend, and the TikTok trend is busting up a lot of people, and they're getting upset about it in a good way. It's a good upset, but you can tell what a person thinks or believes about themselves, how much a person loves themselves by the partner that they choose. And it was like, is right. Because a lot of the times we're putting ourselves in these positions to where we're not receiving enough love. We are not being told the words that we deserve to hear. We are not living that beautiful self-mirror reflection life. And it's because you're not talking to yourself in the mirror. You don't really love yourself, and you don't think that you deserve that sort of affirmation, love, and kindness. And so it truly does start with you.
In the mirror.
100%. You have to make agreements with yourself about how much you love yourself and what you truly deserve. And then you have to give that to yourself. And when you give that to yourself, then the rest will follow very closely. Everybody around you will be a reflection too of what you've decided to reflect on to others. My sister Betty is one of the greatest at this, in my opinion. And she loves herself. I mean, to the point to where I used to be baffled about this woman. She kind of had a bigger belly back in the day, and it was just like a belly, like not the rest of her body super skinny, but just her belly was inflamed because of sugar. Okay. And that woman would wear a bikini in a rich neighborhood with all these fancy Jennifers who are hot to trot and stuff. And she'd walk around in that bikini doing her gardening ups and downs. And she did not care what her flash sack looked like. And I would look at her and be like, are you sure you want to be doing that? Like, don't you want to cover that up a little bit? Or,
And then that's when you get, in retrospect, by whose authority were you questioning her?
Right. I had so much filthy, disgusting judgment. And then, can I be really real with you? She doesn't love her body so much. Her husband, in my opinion, Betty could look like really rough. Like it's a rough day for her. And her husband will walk up to her and he legitimately believes in his whole soul, I'm laughing, that she is a beauty queen. That she is like the most beautiful person who has ever existed on the face of the earth. And I know it is because Betty has worked to believe that about herself.
Yeah. I mean, I seen a post where it said 50% of your beauty is how you treat other people, but I think
it's you.
I think 75% of your beauty starts with how you treat yourself.
100%.
Starts with like at least 75%.
Yep.
Because that confidence, that energy of I don't care what you think about me. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to feel good about me. I'm going to be comfortable in my own flesh sack.
Love it.
And I'm going to perpetuate positivity from inside out and not try to get it from outside in. Yeah. That is the difference between really content and happy presenting people. Is that they pull their happiness from inside and give it out.
Right.
People that are unhappy presenting are looking externally for happiness. They're looking for others to give them affirmations, to give them compliments, to tell them that they're beautiful and that they're cute. But the people that are happy presenting, that are good with themselves inside, they don't require social media likes or a partner to tell them that they look good. It's good to receive compliments. Don't get me wrong. Sure. I'm not anti compliments by any means. Right. There's quality and there's value to compliments. What I'm saying is they aren't required when you do the pie work.
Right.
You don't need them. You can appreciate them as gifts because that's what they are. They're gifts.
Yeah.
And when you get a gift, you receive a gift and you appreciate that gift. But it is not a requirement for a person who is comfortable with their flesh sack to be told that they're okay or that they look good or that they're pretty enough or that they're good enough or that they're smart enough. By whose authority are you telling me what I am?
100%. Another thing I'd like to kind of go full circle into and some flesh sack conversation here. But like my mother, bless her so much. She's a wonderful woman and the stuff that she taught me was wonderful. But my mom was a physical perfectionist. She really did not like her body. She was really cruel and mean to her body. And she would always say things about it or want to be a certain weight or all these different things. And they would navigate how she truly felt about herself. And then I was her daughter. And I grew up trying to be one of the most confident people out there in the world. But I became excessively self-critical. And I didn't understand until later on in my life how that might have happened. And it was called home modeling. The home modeling that I experienced was that even though I thought my mom was perfect, she didn't believe that about herself. And so then I thought, even though I thought I was perfect in my own way, that the truth is that I needed to criticize myself. I needed to speak death into myself. And I will tell you, I have taken that learning, and I challenge everybody out there to do this. And it's not just women, it's men too. It's about being leaders and breathing life into the life that is on our earth with us. So the little guys, we got to show them what this looks like. We've got to change it up for them. And like my kid, she can come in my belly and she can flap it around and blow big bubble kisses on it and do anything she wants with my stomach. And she has never heard me say anything icky at all about any mark or piece of my flesh sac. Even if I have had those thoughts in my lifetime, that kid will not grow up with me showing her that example of self-hate. I grab that belly with her too, and I say, man, isn't that cool? Doesn't that feel amazing? That's where you grew. Can you believe your body was inside my belly? That's amazing. That's like, I'm like a superhero. Can you believe that? Right. And my little girl, she will eat a big meal and be all sorts of full, and she'll come up to me and she'll go, oh, look at this belly. Isn't that nice? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I love that belly. How do you feel? I feel good. And she's sitting there with her bowled out belly, celebrating it like it's a triumph. Like she gained success because of her accomplishments today. And I think that's because I've actively worked on flipping and reversing those concepts that I knew didn't serve me. So the same thing about breathing life into ourselves, bringing positivity into ourselves, into our flesh sacks, honoring this existence. Start with your words. Change up your beliefs with those words, because your beliefs will follow the affirmations, I assure you, as long as you just give in. And then be the example and live that example. Like my sister Betty out there with that bathing suit. I can't even tell you how many times I will be at the river right now in my adulthood in my bikini walking around like Betty, because damn, it feels good to walk like that. It feels so good to walk like Betty walked back in the day when I questioned what the value of what that truly was. And now I know the value, and it's a beautiful thing to be completely okay with your flesh sack and to showcase that to all these little guys. They need to see it too, man. They deserve to see it. And it's not just women, dang it. Everyone always tries to make this like a woman thing. Like women need to be the physical morph leaders of the future. Women need to talk about body positivity. Men have the exact same struggles. They have the exact same growth and development. They go through puberty. They hit into their manhood. They have children too, even though they don't birth children. It still changes their hormonal complex. It still changes what they look like physically.
What do they call it? The dad bod?
The dad bod happens.
Like a big thing.
It's some real stuff. And everybody tries to like shame the game and make it certain it's only for the men, it's only for the women. And all. We are all doing the same dang thing. We are all just trying to learn how to love our life in our flesh sacks with our incredibly wildly cool brains. And we're just trying to feel safe on earth. And it's a really fun thing to give yourself, to allow yourself the freedom of safety in your flesh sack and in your mind. And it just starts with a couple words and sentences and then transfers into some beliefs that you deserve to have.
That's right. So we are nearing the end. We will get into the 4 agreements. But before we do, I just want to say, line your strings up.
Get them tight.
Breathe life with your word being impeccable.
Love it.
Breathe life into everything around you, right?
Please.
First one we have here is don't make assumptions. Speak openly and honestly. When you speak openly and honestly, you won't have to make assumptions. The day you stop making assumptions, you will communicate cleanly and clearly and achieve impeccability with your word.
Nice. I love it. Impeccability, of course. I have to tell you, I shuffled the cards before this episode, and this card was on the top, and I went, oh, no, I don't want that. And I shuffled it in, and I got it again, and I put it back in, and I got it a third time. So this card will be known. It says, don't take anything personal. Become immune to poison. The whole world can gossip about you. And if you don't take it personally, you are immune. Immunity to poison in the middle of hell is the gift of the second agreement. Thank you.
I'll save this for last. You go ahead.
Sounds good. Always do your best. Don't overdo. Always do your best. But don't overdo. When you overdo, you deplete your body and go against yourself, and will take you longer to accomplish your goals. So give yourself some grace, guys. It does not have to be accomplished in one day. You're not going to figure it all out in this exact moment, but you will over time.
It's for sure. Last but not least, be impeccable with your word. Become a white magician.
Ooh.
All the magic you possess is based on your word, and you cast spells all the time with your opinions. You can either put a spell on someone with your word, or you can release someone from a spell.
Amen. Everybody join the White Light Renegade.
We are over an hour, but we have one last segment, and that is Who Said That?
Perfect.
Who said that?
All right. Priscilla has that answer for us.
So the person that I chose for the Who Said That, his name is Brian Weiss, but it also goes by Brian L. Weiss. He was born November 6, 1944, and he's an American psychiatrist, hypnotherapist, and author who specializes in past life regressions. His writings include reincarnation, past life regression, future life progression, and survival of the soul after death. He says every individual soul chooses the significant, or did we already read that one? Okay, this is the one I want to read, excuse me. The important question regarding spirituality is not which God you follow, but are you true to your soul? Are you living a spiritual life? Are you a kind person here on earth, getting joy from your existence, causing no harm, and doing good to others? And the other two quotes that he had up on this wall were, what is the biggest thing that stops people from living their lives in the present moment? Fear. And we must learn how to overcome fear. Understanding dissolves fear. When we understand the true nature of our beings, fear dissipates. We are spiritual beings, not human beings. And that kind of goes hand in hand with flesh sack concepts. Because this flesh sack is just a vessel, but inside you is your soul. And that thing has so much beauty and value. All of the gifts that you could ever ask to receive are in there, waiting for you to unlock them and let them kind of shine out of your flesh sack. Get your strings in line, and then it's even easier to touch base with all that soul-tastic goodness.
Soul-tastic.
I love it.
We really appreciate all of the viewers, all of your engagement, and just so you know, like the comments, the likes, the shares, it really increases the algorithm for us to perpetuate Pi to more people. We don't have the funds to pay, to market, to get commercials. So we ask you as the community, the call to action is to share, like, comment. Create an algorithm so that we can be perpetuated through the digital world, and we can break the cycle of having to pay an influencer or pay into money when we're doing this from our hearts. We're doing this because you ask for it, because it's helpful, because it's Pi.
Yeah, it's delicious work, and you guys can all be a part of it. We appreciate you so much.